I'm thrilled to welcome you all to our virtual demo day, celebrating the accomplishments of the 9 amazing tech startups in our inaugural Google for Startups Accelerator Canada cohort. My name is Ashley Francisco, and as the head of startup developer ecosystems at Google Canada, I have the honor of introducing you to these inspiring founders and startup teams. Since 2014, Google has been helping startups across the globe through our accelerators, and this year we officially welcomed our first Canadian cohort to the program. Our goal is to help these startups grow and scale by bringing the best of Google's people, products, and technology to their teams over a 3-month period. For the last 12 weeks, these teams have been on a journey with us, tackling major projects and milestones around product, design and UX, technical infrastructure, AI/ML, growth marketing, international expansion, sales, people operations, and more. And in true Google fashion, each team set lofty OKRs for themselves. And today, we'll hear about their progress and their plans for the future. They've participated in dozens of hours of workshops with thought leaders from across Google and had access to more than 100 speakers and mentors over the course of the program. Today, we're very excited to have these entrepreneurs tell you more about their work, the problems they're solving, their impact, and where they're headed next. Each team will have 5 minutes to share their story with you and to respond to a question that we received from an audience member in the registration form. So without further ado, I'd love to turn it over to Bridge7 Oncology, a health tech company using AI to scale clinical expertise to improve the efficiency, consistency, and quality of delivering cancer treatment plans.
Hi, I'm Mayor. I'm the co-founder of Bridge7 Oncology. Bridge7 Oncology's mission is to provide every cancer patient with access to the best treatment possible. The problem today is, unfortunately, there are more than 10 million people around the world with cancer, and there are many effective treatments for cancer. In more than 50% of cases, radiation therapy is an effective treatment. However, not every patient that could benefit from an effective treatment like radiation therapy is getting access to this type of treatment. So why is this the case? Well, unfortunately, a complex treatment like radiation therapy requires a tremendous amount of clinical expertise, something like a radiation oncologist, a medical physicist, and a team of technologists to develop and deliver that treatment. And there's still a huge gap even today with the expertise that exists to meet the demand for radiation treatment. But unfortunately, this problem is only getting worse. It's estimated that by 2030, we'll need 150,000 of these experts. So if we don't find a way to scale the existing clinical expertise, we'll end up in a situation where many patients will not get access to an otherwise beneficial treatment for their cancer. So that's where our solution comes in. At Bridge7 Oncology, we've developed technology that utilizes artificial intelligence to automate the quality, efficiency, and consistency of delivering cancer treatments. Our tech will enable a cancer center to treat twice as many patients with the resources they have, while ensuring that every patient gets the highest quality treatment plan by eliminating more than 97% of potential errors that can end up in treatment. So this is a huge market opportunity as well. There's over $2 billion of potential savings through the automation of treatment QA. There's estimated 5 million patients across the world that can benefit from this, that get radiation treatment today, and by increasing the efficiency of the treatment QA process by even 30%, we can save hundreds of dollars per patient. And this doesn't even account for the increased quality of a treatment that a patient may get that can result in a better treatment and even save lives. So how are we able to do this? Well, our team is leading experts in automated treatment planning solutions. My 2 co-founders, Dr. Tom Purdy and Dr. Chris McIntosh, both work at the Radiation Medicine Department of Princess Margaret Cancer Center, one of the best cancer centers in the world. Tom is a medical physicist by training, and Chris is a machine learning scientist who have been working on this problem for over 7 years. And they've successfully commercialized multiple automated treatment planning solutions already used in market on thousands of patients. So through Tom and Chris's work, not only do we have deep expertise, but we've been developing this on a gold standard data set at Princess Margaret Cancer Center, one of the largest data sets of radiation treatment plans with over 10,000 treatment plans that our system has been trained against to find correlations using artificial intelligence of what leads to a high quality treatment plan. It spans more than 150,000 annotated organs and tumors. So you know that we've probably seen a cancer before and know the best possible treatment for that cancer. So how does the tech work? Well, our patented technology is able to detect treatment quality based on the input you can see on the left, which includes every detail of the treatment plan from the images, the structures or ROIs, which are regions of interest in the treatment plan, images, as well as the dosages and the beams that will be delivered to the patient. And by running some of the world's most advanced machine learning algorithms, we're able to provide the radiation medicine team with outputs and analysis on every single region of interest, such as the segmentation or volume of those structures in the images, as well as determine if the doses and the beams are both feasible and effective for that patient. And ultimately are able to determine if the plan proposed for a patient is the highest quality plan based on the particular patient features. And our tech works. It's been technically and clinically validated to exceed human performance through multiple peer-reviewed publications. It's also currently being used in market today through license by RayStation, one of the leading radiation medicine provider software companies in the world. So where are we today? Well, we have a large commercial pilot with one of the leading global cancer networks. Though we're only deployed today as a benchmark product in 24 sites, we have the opportunity to scale to hundreds of sites across Europe, China, and the US, and the potential to reach tens of millions of dollars of recurring revenue over the next few years. So I mentioned that we've only launched our beachhead product as part of the pilot, which measures the quality and conformity of treatment plans delivered over a period of time to determine if the right protocols are selected for their patients, if the protocols are being followed in a consistent format, and ultimately, if they have the team and personnel that is able to deliver the highest quality against those protocols. By the success of our pilot, we hope by next year we'll be able to launch an efficiency product. This will allow cancer centers to treat twice as many patients as I mentioned before, saving them hundreds of dollars. But our vision is much larger. We hope to be able to scale access to clinical protocols that are high quality so that we can democratize access to the best clinical expertise so patients, no matter where they are, can easily get access to the best treatments that can be adopted through our system. So I mentioned we have powerful technology and deep expertise in this field, but ultimately what Bridge 7 is creating is the only automated, evolving, and plan-level QA solution for radiation therapy. Though our competitors can check some specific attributes in a plan, such as the dose, they need to be manually entered, and ultimately they do not evolve as our system does through clinical use and as clinical protocols change based off of the evidence. So this results in our system being the only system that can scale clinical expertise across treatment practices so any patient, no matter where they go or who's treating them, ensures to get the highest quality plan. So today we're raising our institutional seed round of $3 million US, and the use of this funds will help us complete the pilot and graduate our product to the next stage of being a decision support tool. As well, we have a very healthy pipeline of customers, some of the largest networks in the US and Europe, and we'll be able to grow our customer deployment teams to get us to more than $5 billion of annual recurring revenue by the time we're around for funding next time. And we'll also aim to have the largest library of clinical protocols in market for radiation therapy, covering more than 300 different cancer types. So thank you for listening to my presentation, and I hope you'll join us on our vision to scale the existing treatment expertise so that we can ensure that every patient gets access to the highest quality treatment. Thank you, and I'll take some questions.
Thanks, Mayor. Our question for the Bridge 7 team: how do you measure treatment quality, and is this based on patient outcomes?
So today we define quality as the similarity of a plan based off of the other plans in our database that have already been approved by other experts in the field as being high quality plans. So we rely on that consistency to other plans, which does have evidence to suggest lead to better outcomes. Outcome data is still the gold standard. However, there's a lot of issues in the field that prevent good outcome-based data to be collected. But with our system, we do believe you actually have the ability to start correlating with outcome-based data if it's collected that would otherwise be impossible.
Thank you so much, Mayor and the Bridge 7 team. Up next, we'll be hearing from Julia Rivard-Dexter, CEO and co-founder of iRead. iRead builds digital literacy games that motivate kids to master and love reading through personalized and adaptive games. Let's hear more from Julia.
I believe the time kids spend on screens is the biggest untapped opportunity we have for learning today. This conviction came in 2016 when I came across a study published by Carnegie Mellon. It showed that kids are going to spend 10,000 hours video gaming by the time they graduate high school. This is the same amount of time they'll spend in every subject if they have perfect attendance. As a mom of 4 struggling to support my kids in their own schooling, I became driven to find a way to use this gaming time to deliver learning. So our purpose became to deliver the best education to all kids through the games they love. My name is Julia Rivard-Dexter. I'm the co-founder and CEO of iRead. I've built and led 4 successful technology startups, and I've been recognized as one of the top 50 women in STEM. Back in 2000, I represented Canada at the Olympic Games, and this gave me a taste of what it's like to compete on the global stage. And I know how to build teams that are able to achieve this level of success. But I know if you're going to come up with a solution, you have to really understand the problem. And we've started with the biggest problem in education. Right now, up to 47% of our kids reach 4th grade below basic reading levels. And this is a massive problem that's going to affect them for their entire lives. We drilled into this and found 3 problems we feel we can solve for. The first, we know we have classrooms with hugely diverse learners, and teachers are not able to teach to them individually and in a personalized way that's effective. And we know technology can help. The second is that there's a gap in digital adaptive technologies for literacy, and we're solving this. And finally, kids have super high expectations for engaging content, and it's just not available in education. The bar is so low, and we're losing them. In 2014, with an understanding of these gaps, we set out to develop a novel way to deliver learning through an adaptive recommendation engine. Today, our platform completes a stealth diagnostic for every child and then delivers literacy content to them based on their skill through games they love. After 6 years of R&D, iRead is the most fun and effective digital platform for literacy available. In 2016, we released our first game, Squiggle Park, for preschool to grade 2, focused on reading skill development. And in 2019, we launched Dreamscape for reading comprehension for grades 1 to 8. In addition to our deep tech, our competitive advantage is in our ability to engage kids in their own learning. Today on the market, there are programs like Rise Kids and Lexia, and they're boring. Kids lose interest almost right away. On the flip side, they have Fortnite and Clash of Clans and games they absolutely love, but they don't have any research-based learning content. Our games not only keep these kids highly engaged, but we've proven that in as little as 30 minutes per week, players can accelerate their mastery of reading as they play. We focus on distribution through teachers and parents. They're all desperately looking for digital learning programs that kids love. Our B2C model with freemium games offer memberships that unlock epic assets kids demand. We've started with distribution in Canada and the United States and have the potential to expand globally, as evidenced by the fact that we're actively used in most countries worldwide today. With close to 2 million players registered in under 2 years, we've used our data to refine 3 main KPIs. The first is engagement. Our players spend on average 66 minutes per month playing the games. This is 3.8 times more than other educational games that are at the top of their class. The second is retention. We look at 1-day, 7-day, and 28-day retention rates, and in all of them, we're ahead of the pack. And finally, we look at membership conversion of our paid users. For this model to be profitable, we need 1% of our registered users to convert to paid. In 2019, 2020, we hovered around the 0.5% conversion rate. In 2020, we developed experiments to test what factors were driving this conversion. And this testing led us to the identification of channels that predictably convert at a rate of 3.3% or even higher. This is super exciting because it allows us to now focus on growth. We have a strong understanding of our product market fit, and over the next 24 months, we plan to grow and scale in targeted markets. Once we've scaled, we'll extend out the platform. And this is what the extension of the platform looks like, with the addition of new games, predictive analytics, and eventually the addition of new subjects into our content library. Today, we have cash in the bank, but we've been bootstrapping, and now is the time to invest in growth. We're raising a minimum of $2 million to invest in 3 specific areas of focus. The first, targeted marketing for acquisition and revenue. Second, we're going to be testing out the build of new games to increase retention and conversion. And finally, we're going to be investing in the development of our learning recommendation. And this will increase our effectiveness and help build brand trust. So thank you so much for your time today. And I hope I've inspired you, maybe just a little, to join us in transforming learning by delivering the best education to all kids through video games they love.
A question from the audience for you, Julia. How do you access the market and how do you plan to scale?
Thank you for that question. So, we've found a way to effectively market to teachers and parents through very, very targeted social channels. And what's really great about these channels is that they have a very, very low cost of acquisition while being very focused. So, we know exactly who we're targeting. So, our cost to acquire paid users through these channels is about $10.50, and the lifetime value of our users is about $70, which really means that this is a scalable approach to accessing the market in a big way.
Such a needed product. Thank you, Julia and the iRead team. Now I'd love to turn it over to Michael Gilbert from Semios, a Vancouver-based ag tech company that provides real-time crop data and pest management tools for growers.
Hi, I'm Michael Gilbert, CEO and founder of Semios. Chaos theory says that in a deterministic nonlinear system, something as minor as a butterfly's wings movement could result in a typhoon or tornado on the other side of the planet. Well, if that's the case, what happens when butterflies or moths have sex? Well, I can tell you what happens. It's a threat to human populations worldwide and the number one nightmare for farmers around the world. You see, after having sex, these females lay eggs on the crops, and the resulting larvae or worms destroy the harvest. And yet consumers have no tolerance for bugs in their foods. Hence why the sales of pesticides, which kill butterflies and moths, are a $100 billion per year business worldwide. But what if I told you that a combination of the Internet of Things, or IoT, and big data could stop this process without the need for toxic pesticides? Sound like science fiction? Well, science, yes, but fiction, definitely not. At Semios, we have an IoT platform that wirelessly connects sensors and controls on large farms like this one. We have over 2 million sensors on our network, reporting every 10 minutes, allowing farmers to protect their crops more effectively and more sustainably. Our first module, shown in the left column for pests, helps farmers manage insects through a combination of monitoring, recommendations, and controls. We deliver it as a service for a fee per acre per year annual subscription for the data. Let me show you an example. Here's a farm producing $10 million worth of pistachios and almonds. In the first season, we monitored the entire farm, but only protected the top half above the red line, whereas the lower half was protected with conventional pesticides. The numbers in the circles represent the number of moths or butterflies caught in the act over that season. Clearly, we had a huge impact. The one exception is on the edge of the west side, where the insects were flying in from what we call a dirty neighbor. And we can't stop that unless that neighbor also buys our system, further protecting this farm, which is, of course, the ultimate networking effect and a major contributor for our success to date. Here's a graph of our revenue since launching in 2015. We started with 4,000 acres and just under $1 million in revenues. And in 2020, we had nearly 200,000 acres under management and just under $40 million in subscriptions. Last week, with our 2021 pre-sales, we've surpassed $100 million in cumulative revenues. Now, this business has a 60% gross margin and a 30% EBITDA, and yet we've only captured 5% of the US market and less than 0.1% of the world market of high-value permanent crops, which we target. But there's more sizzle to the steak, which is why we're working with Google and talking to you today. You see, the main drivers in agriculture are heat and water. They're what drive most biological systems. One of the challenges in feeding 7 billion people isn't finding land, it's finding land that has both heat and the water needed. Think Las Vegas meets Seattle into one. That's what you need. And our system measures heat and water on every acre every 10 minutes. The models we developed help manage everything from frost to bloom, pollination, irrigation, nutrition, harvest timing, you name it. If it's happening on the farm, we can better understand how to manage it. Here's an example of an orchard in California that produces $3 million worth of nuts. We measure the conditions in the trees of the canopy over the season to see how the conditions and risks change over time and space. And as you can see, even though this farm is treated as one single block, there are many areas that need different levels of treatments at different times. Over the last 3 years, we've been developing and launching new products based on the same ground truth microclimate data of heat and water, tapping into an additional $1,000 per acre per year in value for our customers. We've also been working with partners like Google to combine data sets like imagery to deliver more accurate recommendations for water and nutrition. And we started a financing process to raise capital to acquire technologies or companies that would allow us to connect control systems in these areas as well. If these are areas of interest to you, please reach out to me. Let's chat. And thank you for listening to the Semios story.
Thanks so much, Michael. One of our registrants is eager to know if this technology could be applied to all crops all around the world.
Thanks, Ashley. That's actually our most common question we get. You see, we break up the agriculture market into two parts, row crops and permanent crops. And we focus entirely on permanent crops because granularity and heat and water play a much more important role, and farmers in these crops make a lot more decisions, like once or twice a week as opposed to once or twice a year in row crops.
Thank you to the Semios team for this important work. Now, I'd love to turn it over to Protein Cure to tell us about their computational platform for protein drug design.
Hi, everyone. I'm Lucas, and I'm really excited today to share a little bit about Protein Cure and what we've been working on for the last 3 years. Protein Cure is really a new way to find therapeutics for some of the currently undrugged diseases that humanity faces. Obesity, various forms of cancer, and certain neurological disorders have all proven to be extremely challenging targets for current drug discovery workflows. For some of these diseases, we've even known the root cause for decades, but have been unable to find viable drug candidates. In the last 12 months, Protein Cure has worked with some of the world's largest pharma companies, and we found and experimentally validated potential novel therapeutics for 3 of these disease variants. And there are 2 major classes of therapeutics in the world. Small molecules like aspirin or cholesterol drugs are the older and larger market, but protein-based drugs, think insulin or antibody drugs, are the smaller but faster growing market. However, finding new protein drugs is one of the hardest technical problems that humanity faces, and that's what we work on at Protein Cure. The fundamental key is using software to help understand a protein's 3-dimensional structure and function. So why is this such a hard problem? Well, there's 3 main reasons. First, we have a near infinite search space, but almost no data on the structure of most proteins in nature, let alone the full set of proteins that are possible. Second, you have to optimize multiple properties to get a useful drug, but improving one property in a therapeutic by making a mutation often changes all of the other previous properties. And so it's a very challenging multidimensional property optimization problem. Finally, for some properties, we don't even understand the biology of the relationship between the protein structure and function. And so we have this hard problem, and we have a very valuable market, which is why over $80 billion a year is spent on just the R&D for these therapeutics. So how does it work today? Well, an example would be exenatide, a billion-dollar diabetes drug. Scientists started with GLP-1, which is a protein that is found in all healthy people, but is missing in a subset of people with diabetes. They then spent decades trying to make mutations to GLP-1 to try and improve it as a drug candidate. Exenatide, the eventual solution, is 20 mutations away from GLP-1 that has all the properties we would want. And structurally, it shouldn't surprise you, and you can see here on the slide, that they actually look almost physically identical. So who discovered exenatide and how did they do it? Well, it turns out that this lizard was pretty critical. Exenatide was accidentally discovered in the venom of a Gila monster shown here. And that's pretty common for most of the protein-based drugs we take today. We make mutations, often at random, to humans or things found in nature, and we test them in a lab. But we're hoping at Protein Cure to build a new way to find novel therapeutic candidates. We combine different computational tools from academia and with our own proprietary elements to help design these new proteins for challenging disease targets. And we don't just focus on algorithms for prediction, we focus a lot on representing proteins in a way that makes them more interpretable to machines. At the core of all this is a particular focus on physics-based tools. We simulate the atoms and forces between those atoms and between the drug and the target when trying to understand the properties of our candidates. This is what allows us to overcome some of the data limitations inherent to protein drug discovery. And once we've overcome those limitations, you can start to see examples of how we would use our technology. In one case, we worked on a target known as the p53 pathway. p53 is otherwise known as the guardian of the genome, and in fact has mutations in over 50% of all cancers. And there are no approved drugs. Based on 47 data points we could find in the literature, Protein Cure designed and tested new compounds in 6 months. And so far, we validated that we have close to best-in-class potency while significantly improving on some of the other needed properties to make these molecules into potential drug candidates. So now that we've shown we can have success across multiple different types of diseases by working with AstraZeneca and other major partners, we now have the hallmark of a true platform technology. And our business model is starting off by partnering with pharma. We design molecules for them for upfront fees and a share of the upside in terms of royalties or milestones. And this is a business model which allows us to continue to build on deep tech capabilities, but in a less capital intensive way, while still maintaining a portion of the upside for all of the novel therapeutics that we can help create. Eventually, as the computational tools truly mature, we hope to become a verticalized drug company. Because the last generation of $100 billion pharma companies were founded on the basis of novel protein synthesis tools and that platform. We believe the next generation of large pharma companies will use computational methods as their foundation. So if you'd like to learn more, please feel free to reach out to me, and I'd love to talk to you more about what we're doing at Protein Cure. Thank you.
Thank you, Lucas. Fascinating work. Our audience would love to know in your own words how Protein Cure is different from other AI drug discovery startups.
Thanks, Ashley. And first of all, thank you to all of the Google mentors and participants who've really helped us throughout the accelerator. But to answer the question, Protein Cure is different from most AI drug discovery companies, first of all, because we work on, as mentioned, proteins, and these are much larger, more dynamic, complicated molecules. And so fewer startups tend to work on them. Amongst the few companies that do work on designing novel proteins for therapeutics, I think there's two really core differences. The first is that we really have this focus on building tools and using tools that are less data dependent. Because in a lot of cases, for the most challenging drugs, we can't easily generate experimental data. And so it's not viable to pick algorithms or tools that require large amounts of data to be operational. Second of all, we are really big believers in combining different computational tools. And so rather than just focusing on one particular niche or technical subset, we combine different advances in molecular dynamics simulations, in machine learning, in energy-based methods, and other bioinformatics approaches so that we can use different approaches to triangulate and arrive at an answer that is hopefully more accurate than other in silico methods would be in isolation.
And finally, before our intermission, I'd love to introduce Vino from Cabo. Cabo is a pet food brand that delivers healthy dog food, customized to your dog's dietary needs and delivered straight to your door.
Hi, my name is Vino Jayapalan. I'm one of the founders of Cabo, where we're on a mission to help pets live a happier and healthier life. We've been doing this in the past 15 months by producing fresh dog food that's actually customized to each dog's dietary needs. By utilizing information from age all the way down to activity level, our algorithm can calculate the actual calories that that dog needs at that given life stage, allowing us to tackle one of the biggest issues that pet consumers face when it comes to the health of their dogs, which is obesity. And it's driven primarily by overfeeding. Simply by using Cabo, customers are not only able to get a simple selection of food from anything such as dry dog food all the way to freshly cooked, but we're able to portion the right amount to avoid the overfeeding issue that most pet parents face today. And by providing it in a reoccurring subscription, consumers have absolutely grown to love our product. We have amassed a community that not only loves our product, but it loves the fact that we are able to utilize their pet data to help them raise their pet and not make it such a lonesome journey after all. So what does that mean in terms of numbers? Well, over the past 15 months, we've surpassed $2 million in annual reoccurring revenue. We've built a payback period with our acquisition journey that allows us to scale. And most importantly, our customers indicate that they absolutely love us and are coming back for more to make Cabo the daily ritual of feeding their dog. What's been really interesting to talk about is the aspect of what's been going on around us with the pandemic. Since the outbreak, there's obviously been a double down in e-commerce and an emptying of shelters and breeders. But as recently as a few weeks ago, there's still a continuing demand for pets amongst people managing through the change of the dynamic. And what we've seen is up to an 18-month wait list for a breeder to purchase a puppy or for a rescue shelter to adopt a dog. And as a business for us, what that indicates is that our total addressable market is growing very fast and over a short period of time. And Cabo is best situated to provide and change the way pet commerce is for these new consumers and many others before them. When we look at Lily here, an example Cabo customer, we know a few data points as I've mentioned earlier before. Anything from weight to her activity level being a little bit lazy and her age. We can also cross-reference that information to identify, is this dog in its most ideal state? And how can Cabo help this consumer with their dog to ensure that they can live a longer and happier life? So beyond just providing that food, what we're able to do is send something as simple as a text message to Lily's pet parent to indicate that her golden retriever is almost 10 pounds over the average recommended weight. And with a simple click of a button, Lily's pet parent is able to solve that problem and avoid a $7,000 hip dysplasia bill. So as we continue to build out Cabo, we really see ourselves in a position to build out the future of pet commerce. From understanding our breeds and ages of our dogs, as all the way down to where they live and the impact that it creates on their health, to understanding how we can utilize natural language processing to provide more personalized communication, really allows us the opportunity to build a new version of pet commerce that consumer product companies do not offer today. So if you're interested in learning a little bit more about the company, what we're doing, and most importantly, the team that's putting this all together, I would love for you to reach out to me at vino@cabo.co, and I'd love to set up a time to chat.
Thanks so much, Vino. One of our audience members would love to learn more about what separates Cabo from other freshly cooked dog food brands.
Yeah, that's a great question. So how is Cabo different from, the many other dog food brands, from the incumbents that have been around for a long time to the new direct-to-consumer freshly cooked brands? It's fairly evident in our eyes, and it really revolves around how we utilize data to build this company going forward. We believe the utilization of our pet data allows us to not only right now portion out our food to avoid issues like obesity, but going forward, we've been able to utilize that data to start formulation on products that are specifically focused for dogs with certain degenerative issues that are common that we're seeing, such as kidney issues or dogs with diabetes. And that is currently what's not being offered when we look at freshly cooked dog food or any of our current incumbents. What we typically see is a solution that's one solution fits all versus something that could really be a little bit more granular and customized to that specific dog's needs. And because of the food engine we've built, we've been able to do this in an effective manner that not only meets our unit economics, but actually solves the issues that that dog is facing.
I hope you're all as inspired as I am. Don't go anywhere. During our 5-minute intermission, we'll take a look back at the program and our founders' experiences. And from there, we'll hear from our remaining 4 startup teams. We're thrilled for the 9 companies that joined our inaugural Canadian program. For context for you all, we had over 300 applications, so hopefully that makes you feel great about Google's excitedness to partner with you all and to hopefully enable growth across many different facets of your business.
Our startup is Archangel. We enable people to live free of preventable diseases through early detection using computer vision.
So we're Bridge 7 Oncology. We're focused on automating and improving the quality and consistency of delivering complex cancer treatments, specifically radiotherapy.
At Curve Health, we really aim to enable any physical healthcare provider to build, to prescribe, and to monetize digital therapies.
I'm thrilled to be here as the founder and CEO of iRead. So we build video games that deliver curriculum-aligned literacy content. So we teach kids how to read through video games they love.
Our startup is Cabo. Our whole goal is helping dogs live a happier and healthier life. Currently what we do is we produce and actually recommend the best diets for dogs based on their information and deliver it to them on a reoccurring basis.
Our staff, I don't know, we are called LONGAN Vision. So we are aiming to bring the head-up display and AR technology for firefighter, basically to help them see better inside of smoke or harsh environment.
Our startup we're ultimately simplifying tutoring and helping tutors and students. It's especially timely given the chaos that's happening in the education system at the moment.
I'm a founder of Protein Cure, and we aim to design novel therapeutics using computational methods.
We aim to kind of help nature feed a growing population through optimizations of permanent crops, so trees, nuts, fruits, apples, pistachios, almonds.
This is an oversimplification of the 12 weeks ahead, but you can see that we'll focus on technical enablement first and foremost. We'll dive deep into product road mapping, design UX, infrastructure, AI, ML, and more. From there, we continue into growth, sales strategy, people, leadership, and more. And we have some amazing speakers and Google experts lined up to support. I wanted everybody to get a sense of kind of the breadth of support we have across our dedicated mentors, but that definitely isn't the be-all, end-all of our support. The goal for all of today's breakouts is really to dive deeper into what does that mean for you all and the specific needs and use cases of your companies.
I'm a product manager in Google Research, specifically Google Brain.
I have the privilege of leading our brain research programs team globally.
I lead a team that is working on trying to digitize our chemical senses.
I work on a range of topics in machine learning.
So imagine a world where every cancer patient had access to world-class care.
So this is interesting, right? I've seen a lot of different companies looking at understanding images, but I've never seen anybody looking at trying to plan out the therapy, so that's great.
You are our first inaugural Canadian cohort. Google's been running accelerators across the globe for since about 2014. We are the 14th market up to bat in terms of Google supporting the startup ecosystem locally, which we are thrilled about.
I just want to say a big congratulations to all of you again and a thank you for being our inaugural Google for Startups Accelerator Program cohort. We are really, really excited about the work that you are doing now and are going to do for the Canadian tech ecosystem. I really loved that meeting with all of you and to learn a little bit more about you, to learn about what you do and what you think about the ecosystem.
Congratulations on completing the Google for Startups program. I hope over the last 3 months you've learned some lessons and met some people that will help you as you go forward in the days and months ahead.
As you all get ready to graduate from our accelerator program, I would like to send my congratulations and best wishes. It's really inspiring for me to see the progress all of you have made over the last 3 months as part of this program.
We're so excited to see some of Canada's best and brightest graduate from our first Google for Startups Accelerator cohort. The technology you're using to solve some of the world's biggest problems is truly inspiring, and we're honored that Google can be a partner in your journey. I can't wait to see what you all achieve next.
Welcome back. I think it goes without saying that it's been a busy and rewarding 12 weeks. I now have the pleasure of introducing Shay Balish from Curve Health. Curve empowers health providers to build, prescribe, and remotely monitor digital therapies.
Curve Health helps everyone build better and healthier bodies, whether you're rehabilitating a painful low back or just trying to improve your flexibility so you don't get injured on that new marathon you're training for. My name is Shay Balish. I'm the CEO and founder of Curve Health, and I'm going to jump into really the context of why we started Curve Health. The unfortunate reality of being a human is that your bodies break down. Right? More than 30 billion just in the US is spent on physical therapy alone. Around 1/3 of the population report that they have some type of issue with their body that's limiting their daily life, including getting ahead, getting exercise that prevents these injuries in the first place. And then, of course, there's all these negative downstream consequences, such as addiction to painkillers and opioids, which are really an ugly underbelly of society. So the problem that we're addressing is that physical therapy hasn't changed in the last 50 years. Currently, it's highly infrequent. You go into a clinic to see this scarce resource, this physical therapist, maybe every week or every 2 weeks. Because it's a scarce resource, it's the time of the physical therapist, it's relatively expensive. And then the final point is that most physical therapy doesn't actually occur in a clinic, it occurs at home. And because physical therapists don't have a way to coach you or guide you at home, a lot of physical therapy compliance is relatively low. Most people don't actually finish or even come close to completing their physical therapy because they're not really monitored at home and they're not held accountable. They're not really guided. So this is why we built Curve Health. Curve Health is digital physical therapy through personal one-on-one coaching. We rely on asynchronous technology, which drives a lot of cost savings and reduces the labor intensity of delivering physical therapy. We also have daily coaching with not only your physical therapist, but with a Curve coach who holds you accountable and also makes therapy snackable so you can access it 24/7. And then we have proprietary technology that allows us to remotely monitor you, including your body and how it moves. And that allows us to ensure that physical therapists are making evidence-based decisions at a distance, and also so they have information on you to hold you accountable to actually doing what you need to do to live that healthy life. So we have innovated at the intersection of computer vision, machine learning, and biomechanics. Anyone with a mobile device can hold up, take a video of someone moving, and actually begin to measure in an accurate way a number of characteristics of your body, whether you have good balance, your flexibility, perhaps your power generation, how high you can jump, but also your range of motion for a number of potentially injured segments of your body that are important. We are ultimately a direct-to-consumer digital therapy clinic, just like any other clinic, except we're digital and we use technology, really a human-in-the-loop model, to drive massive cost savings for a lot of our partners, as well as our patients, our consumers. So we partner with payers such as large health insurers, as well as self-insured employers and other groups in this space, workers' compensation boards, and we drive cost savings for them by bringing our technology in to be able to deliver therapy for their members. We also go directly to market. We partner with a number of organizations as well as sport and fitness groups to ensure that their members, when they need specialized physical therapy from someone who understands what they're going through, they can receive that in a more cost-effective, convenient way. And we also work with freelancers. We enable these people that already built a massive distribution of people who want care from these members, but just can't access it because the actual freelancers or notable physical therapists in this space don't have the technology to be able to deliver care at the scale of the internet. So my name is Shay Balish. I've already mentioned that. I'm the founder and COO. I have a background in academia. So I did an interdisciplinary PhD, as well as a postdoctoral degree at University of Toronto. Mark Goda, our COO, has a background in venture capital. He was at Omers Ventures and specialized in digital therapies. Then Ed Keeble's our VP of engineering. He's been in the startup space for quite a while. He's very nimble and very good at having the team ship very high quality code. We're currently not fundraising right now. We have $500,000 in annual recurring revenue to date, and we will be fundraising in the new year. And we're really looking for strategic capital, individuals that can open doors for us for the distribution, on the distribution side, not just straight up capital. Thank you so much. I really look forward to chatting with you and telling you more about Curve Health.
Thanks, Shay. One of our viewers asked what value Curve provides to larger partners, such as health insurers.
So the way to understand health insurers is that they're the closest allies to the people actually receiving care. They curate care on behalf of their members, and they're looking for cost-effective care first and foremost, right? They want to produce the best outcomes at the cheapest prices. The problem for them is that all the existing clinics, many of the brick and mortar clinics, don't have incentives to change. They just want to keep people coming back into their clinic. That's how they make money. For us, we have a strategic, really a partnership with them. They give us scale and we can give them massive cost savings that still put the patients first. They put the patients as the North Star. We can provide more visibility into the quality of the care. The patients have more convenient, accessible care, and they have more of a personal relationship with their actual care provider versus just coming back into a clinic multiple times. So that's mainly how we help with larger payers.
Thanks so much, Curve Health. Up next, we have the Archangel AI team, based in Montreal, but currently joining us from Colombia to tell us about their AI algorithm for early detection of preventable diseases in remote parts of the world.
Hi, I'm Jose, the CEO and co-founder of Archangel AI, a startup that allows doctors to detect diseases in seconds. Early disease detection means the difference between life and death for all of us. Currently, 56% of deaths worldwide are caused because of things that we know how to cure, but are not detected on time. The problem is that current detection systems are not scalable. They're really expensive, and they require a built infrastructure, which few countries have access to. That's why we created Archangel, an AI software that allows doctors to detect diseases in seconds, which is 20 times faster, 10 times more scalable, and 5 times more cost-effective with an accuracy above 90%. The way Archangel works is really simple. You simply put the ID of a patient and then upload a medical image from that patient. And then in a matter of seconds, Archangel runs its algorithm and scans the image in order to find signs for specific pathologies, which then provides the probability of finding one of those 19 that Archangel detects. It also outputs the explainability of each pathology so that the doctor can make the final diagnosis in a matter of seconds. Archangel works in a single platform that detects multiple diseases. Right now, you will be able to detect from COVID pneumonia in chest x-rays up to malaria in blood samples. Our technology was trained and validated with over 600,000 images diagnosed by specialists, which shows great accuracy across the board. But our competitive advantage lies in the AI models that we have. They work offline, they are ultra lightweight. They were also designed for specific diseases from the global south, like malaria, which is an untapped market. And they work with simple diagnosis machines like analog x-rays and microscope, which creates low barriers of entry for us as we scale in the future. We launched during the pandemic, and thanks to the Google Accelerator, we have grown exponentially during the last 3 months. Our detections have increased 75% month over month, and the technology behind our algorithms have increased dramatically, making the detection speed 50% faster today. We also closed strategic partnerships with large pharmaceutical companies like Novartis, top-tier health insurance companies like Cosalud, and the government of Colombia to implement Archangel in different regions. What we're really eager to share today is that doctors truly love Archangel. They say that it is an invaluable tool to define the medical conduct of a patient in less than a few seconds, and that it decreases uncertainty when they have to make the final diagnosis. Our business model is really simple. We're a B2B SaaS model where we sell the government, health insurance companies, and pharmaceutical companies a license depending on the number of detections they require, being the enterprise the most popular. With this business model, we expect to close 2020 with $110,000 in ARR, and with an existing pipeline today worth $1.5 million in ARR, which we will be working in the next 6 months. But the business opportunity really doesn't stop there, because as you know, the telediagnosis market is growing exponentially due to the COVID-19 pandemic, and it is expected to hit $500 billion in the next 10 years, growing 24% year over year. I'm also really proud of our team. Laura, which is one of our co-founders, previously worked at Rappi, LATAM's biggest tech unicorn. Jose Elias Gomez, which is a doctor in medicine from the National University of Colombia, has extensive experience in detecting tropical diseases in remote areas of the world. And myself, an AI developer from McGill University and MIT, also co-founded the team. We also have a remarkable team of experts with backgrounds in machine learning, a biomedical engineer, mathematics, physics, and growth, all working towards making Archangel a reality. But today, I'm here because with your help, we're going to scale Archangel throughout South America and impact over 300 million lives along the way. And when we get there, we'll scale even more until the day we can say that no one on earth will die from a preventable disease. And if you are a local government, a health insurance company, or a hospital, and you would like to be part of that future, please do reach out to us. Thank you.
Inspiring work. For the Archangel AI team, one of our audience members asked, why did you start with remote parts of the world?
Thank you, Ashley. That was a great question. Why do we start with remote areas of the world? Well, first, there is a number that actually plays a big role in our business, and that is that 1 billion people lack access to basic healthcare coverage in different parts of the world, but in particular in remote areas. And some of the experts at the WHO says that there is a lack of about 7 million healthcare workers that is expected to increase to about 13 million by 2035. This is again even more present in remote areas of the world. But really, actually, remote hospitals are a great business opportunity because of the high cost in logistics, in treatment and transferring patients, but also because these scarce and offline environments create a great playground for new innovations like Archangel. It allows us to create technology that has less barriers of entry and that is more accessible to more people, and then a huge market opportunity for a company like ours.
Thank you, Jose. Now I'd love to introduce Enzo from LONGAN Vision to tell us about their AR glass technology to enable firefighters with enhanced sensing capabilities.
Fire happened, people die. 2017, London Grenfell building fire caused 72 civilian casualties. 2019, Kyoto animation studio fire caused 34 civilian casualties. Recently, 2020, California wildland fire caused 28 civilian casualties and 4 firefighter casualties. How could we improve firefighter safety and public safety? Still a question. Hello everyone, my name is Enzo, the CEO and the founders of LONGAN Vision. Through discussions with different fire departments, we collect a large amount of data related to 4 major challenges that firefighters are facing. The heavy smoke causes 0 to no visibilities. The complex structure of buildings may cause location disorientation. The hidden fire, which cannot be identified by the naked eye, may cause a risk of rebirth. And the limited communication method may cause information misleading. Now, let me introduce our solution, Fusion Vision System, FVS, a smart hand-free, hand-up, helmet-mount AR system, specially designed for firefighters. In order to address the 4 major pain points, we come out with 4 major features. Machine learning-based eye detections, which could help firefighters quickly navigate through the building. Fire source detections, which could spot how temperature area that behind the obstacle. The indoor localization tracked firefighters' route inside of the building. Lastly, real-time information sharing. The fire chief could monitor individual firefighter status on their command platform. Our goal is to create a LONGAN Vision smart firefighting network system. The FVS will be communicated between the firefighter A, B, C, and their incident commander through a mesh, 5G, and LTE network. The incident commander could access their vital location and live image data through the platform. Command platform is also sending all the data to the city headquarters dispatch unit. The dispatch unit will be analyze the data and dispatch additional unit if necessary. It is hard to compete in teleport ourselves. We have several strong partners, which including Morita Fire Truck Company from Japan, Pacific Helmet from New Zealand, Mapping from Waterloo, and finally we have Google. Besides industrial partners, we also got backed by the DRDC and the 5G Anchor project to implement 5G technologies in the near futures. Finally, we're also working with 9 fire departments from Canada and 3 fire departments from state to make sure that our product fit our customers' need. Now, let's talk about market size. There are more than 150,000 firefighters in Canada and 1 million firefighters in the United States. According to our research, 2015, North American fire PPE market annual revenue is around $700 million. Based on our feedback from fire departments and market research, we are looking at a total $10 billion North American and Asia market. We have 2 major competitors. The most used thermal imaging camera in the fire service is the MI6 6000 series. The system is very bulky, requires one hand to operate, has no smart features. The hand-free option is the 3M Scout Sight. 3M integrate their thermal imaging inside of their SCBA mask. However, the user feedback is very poor due to the lack of resolutions, flash rate, and display size. Our solution is more user-friendly, providing a larger field of view, larger resolutions, and providing an AI image enhancement. By using our IoT smart features, we are not only solving their visioning problem, but also their location and communication problem. Our business model will be mainly focused on hardware sale. We'll be using 4 channels to distribute our product. Direct sale to the fire departments through piloting test and trade show. Government contracts through bidding and RFP. Using a third-party fire equipment distributors to distribute our product. Last one, through our partners. We are working with other fire equipment manufacturers such as Morita Fire Truck Company, Pacific Helmet to form a bundle sale package. In the first year, we want to achieve 300 unit sale, mainly with our partners and with our collaborated fire department. Second year, our target is $8.3 million revenue. We are more focused on growth our sales in the North Americans, mainly using our distributors and through government bidding process. Third year, we are moving into global expansions and entering defense and industrial sectors to achieve our $14 million revenue target. We also have an amazing team and advisors. Our team including a technology expert from Ford and Honda, science expert from McMaster Autonomous Driving Lab, and a financial expert from UK Queen's University. We also have several advisors from Tesla, McMaster, and Arab NRC. With this awesome team, we believe LONGAN vision could bring first responder and public safety into the next level. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Enzo. Can you tell us what other viable use cases do you see for this technology, and what made your team start with a firefighter?
We first have this idea, design an AR robust system that could integrate thermal imaging camera technology. Then we begin our market research with different sectors, such as assembly line, manufacturing facilities, police departments, and fire department. After several rounds of interview, we found out fire department are the most urgent sector that require this kind of technologies. I'm still remembering one of the interview meeting. One of the fire chiefs showed their current handheld thermal imaging camera and told us, "Your current prototype is really way better than these things. It is a game changer, and we as a fire and rescue team really need your technologies. That's why are the reasons why we stick with the firefighters as the beginning of our journey.
Well, everyone, we've reached our final presenter for today. And with that, I'm thrilled to introduce Ryan from LumenEd. LumenEd is an ed tech company who is simplifying the tutor and student matchmaking marketplace.
I'm Ryan McCartney, CEO and co-founder of LumenEd. Last year, I made my son's lunch, dropped him at school, and hoped he came home smarter than he left. What used to be a reliance on the school system to manage learning and peripheral services used only occasionally has turned into families struggling to figure out options for their children to stay on track. I've spent days on virtual classroom calls, signed them up for learning games, and tried a few apps and downloadable workbooks. And every day there are headlines about the chaos in the school system, families with growing worry about their children's progress. The private tutoring market is dominated by tutoring, and search for tutoring-related terms are up nearly twofold since the pandemic struck, with families taking education into their own hands. The problem is, it's complicated to know where to turn to find the right help for your child. Parents are seeking someone that matches the style and the needs of the student. They have the pedigree, and it's safe and convenient. Tutors, on the other hand, are educators, not technologists. They're challenged to find enough of the best fit customers for them. They're overwhelmed with tasks like scheduling, payments, and technical support, and they have a customer base that's justifiably with high expectations. So we introduced LumenEd, a marketplace for families to find tutoring and education support. We're on a mission to bring clarity, convenience, and confidence to families beyond the classroom. We launched with an initial focus on tutoring, providing solo tutors and tutoring companies with a platform to simplify their business and for families to find the best fit tutor. Our platform delivers an all-in-one experience for both sides of the market, reducing the friction in trying to navigate the dozens of point solution tools on the market that don't work together. As we learn about helping more students, we'll unlock roadmap features like recommending additional content, games that they should try, and additional service providers that can help them on their journey. Pre-COVID, there were 120,000 solopreneur tutor and tutoring organizations across North America, and 62 million students attending elementary, middle, and high schools. The global market was on track to be nearly $370 billion and is growing fast. So is the share of household income seeking relief. Our business model today is simple: a SaaS fee for tutors and tuition services organizations for our one-stop shop platform to run their business virtually or in person, and a transaction fee for collecting payments, paying tutors, and storing content like recorded video sessions. As we round out the offering, adding more value to the students and families via recommendations for additional services, content, etc., we'll charge a student fee. Through the Google for Startups Accelerator, we're building a digital marketing program to entice influencers, content creators, and ads to recommend LumenEd, bringing demand to our tutors. We're onboarding tutoring organizations and individual tutors with value-added business management features and an all-in-one solution to reduce marketplace leakage and grow our GMV. We'll then use machine learning to understand the student and family and recommend these additional relevant resources. Tutoring on its own is a fragmented space with no clear winner, and yet most parents still seek peer recommendations or simply go to Google. Directories are overdone with listings of boring static profiles. Our technology finds the best fit match by collecting qualifying information, a one-stop shop to find, buy, and receive the service. We believe the blue ocean is in focusing on the family experience. We're a blockbuster team of experienced startup and scale-up operators involved in taking several companies from seed stage to 9-figure valuations, with skills spanning sales and marketing, finance, tech development, and product strategy. We've been grateful to be accepted into several top-tier competitive incubators and accelerators, and our timing couldn't be better. Since we launched earlier this year, we've provided students with more than 6,000 hours of tutoring, signed up over 200 tutors in 5 major markets, including Toronto, New York, and Los Angeles. We've seen 50% month-over-month growth since August, and and we're on track to $1 million in revenue next year with a $6 million GMV. So far, we've funded our exploration of product market fit with a small angel round on a safe note and are gearing up for a seed fundraise early next year to add resources to our growth and capture this market in its moment. Tutoring is a large and growing market with lots of friction. We're the right team, passionate and experienced in this space, and our traction and timing are telling, with great feedback across a growing user base. Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan. Can you tell us how big you see the beyond school opportunity, and does it go beyond tutors?
In short, we're focused on tutoring as a channel for supporting students and families to get access to somebody who can help them outside of the classroom. But the need doesn't stop at the instruction. There are lots of great games, apps, content, and more coming online every month. The problem is the overwhelm in finding what would be best for each child. So as a parent, I want something or something like LumenEd to tell me, based on who my child is, what things I should be signing up for. With LumenEd, we'll be able to refer students to the most relevant resources for who they are and where they're at, and everybody wins.
And there we have it. Thanks so much to everyone for tuning in and supporting our 9 amazing startup teams. On behalf of Google and everyone who made this program possible, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you to our 9 founders and startup teams who we are honored to have worked with over the last 3 months. Thank you to our speakers, advisors, experts, and mentors who graciously lent their time, passion, and expertise to the program. Thank you to our partners and other ecosystem builders who tirelessly work in support of Canadian startups and entrepreneurs. And lastly, thanks to each and every one of you for tuning in today. So what can you do now to show your support? Well, first and foremost, please continue to support Canadian founders and entrepreneurs whenever possible. Please share today's showcase with your networks. Please join us in congratulating these amazing founders who are working to tackle some of the world's largest problems. And lastly, if you'd like to connect directly with any of the startup teams you heard from today, please don't hesitate to reach out. And with that, one final congratulations to today's startups for what they've accomplished so far and what they undoubtedly will accomplish in the future. We can't wait to see what you do next. Thanks, everybody.